Welcome, JD, to another edition of The Bones of Advertising. I'm Craig McLeod, and you are?
I am, as usual, John Douglas, sitting here very, very patiently waiting for the next loosely fucking structured piece of stupidity that comes along every week at this time. I'm looking forward to it.
I call it brilliance. That's the difference.
Thank you.
My friend, can I ask you a question? Do you have a bone for us to pick over today?
I've got a very small bone, very, very small bone. And it's a bone that many advertising people may be unaware of, certainly at the creative and production end, and maybe a little bit in the media end. Funnels. I like to talk about funnels.
Nice. I like the funnel. That's a good one. Let's get stuck into the funnel, my boy. Shall we start with what the hell is a funnel?
Well, a funnel, it depends. A funnel can be that thing that you stick down your throat down the bar at 3 o'clock in the morning, and the bar lady comes along and pours 17 shots of tequila down your throat.
That's one.
That's a funnel.
View of a funnel. The other one is when you run out of petrol and you have to go to the bloody BP and you come back with a jerry can in a funnel to get the jerry can into the bloody car. That's another funnel.
Yeah, 4 o'clock in the morning. That's no fun. Yeah.
No joy there. Well, I only do that once.
Yeah. I can remember getting lost on a highway. Well, not lost, like running out of petrol and just sort of not knowing really where I was and how far towns were. And, it was back before the satellite navigation. And this guy came along in a ute and he said, he broken down. What's the problem? I said, stupidly run out of petrol.
Holy shit, JD. You were near the Bangalore forest, were you?
Yes. Yeah. Just me in my hippie pants and my tie-dye t-shirt. Yeah, just looking for trouble in the Bangalore forest. No. He had a jerry can of petrol in his tray, and he gave me free petrol enough to get me to the next town.
Wow.
Generosity of strangers. My life would be very, very different today. I'd be lying in a shallow grave in the Bangalore forest if it hadn't been for that bloke.
Well, you could, and I'm bloody glad you're not, mate. But I think that kind of kindness is what you call a phrase out of the African world that they call it Ubuntu, I think is the correct pronunciation of it. And ultimately...
You're the expert. I'm just going to go with whatever you say.
Again, me being sport crazy, as you well know, just watching Doc Rivers on the latest documentary on Netflix and talking about how he got the 2007 Boston Celtics from finishing almost last to winning the championship within a couple of seasons. And it was about this philosophy of Ubuntu that they instilled within the team. And it really was about community and about how kindness, about how giving, about how sharing can bring a team together, because he introduced 3 stars into the team, and all of which were leaders from other teams. So he really heralded this approach and instilled it in the team. And what it did, it just made this incredible camaraderie and this real feeling of everyone is important and giving and sharing the ball. And I think the essence of what I'm trying to go to, sorry for the rabbit hole, definitely.
I love a rabbit hole, me.
Rabbit hole up. But the essence of it is, if you're driving down a highway in middle Australia, perhaps where you were, JD, and someone stops and offers you a jerry can, that's the essence of what this is about. Your mission in life is to help the greater good. And in this instance, this guy was helping you, which, really plays into that. But anyway, back to topic of the funnel.
It is absolutely. I've got no segue at all. No segue at all.
Back to the bloody point.
But I tell you, I really like the funnel. I'm a recent, I was a relatively recent convert to the funnel. I mean, there's always been a loose awareness of the role of the different parts of advertising and the different roles that different messages have.
Yeah.
And it's only recently really been formalized into the funnel, like that, awareness, interest, conversion, persuasion, and everyone's got a different funnel, and everyone goes to market with their bespoke funnels. And every single customer, every single client, every single business needs its own funnel because every single business is different.
Yep.
So if you're out there, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, and someone comes to you and says, we've got a funnel that will work for you, I would sprinkle a little salt very liberally over that little promise, because unless they know your business and your clients and your needs, and they don't have a funnel, they've just got a pocket full of bullshit they'd like you to buy. That's
That sounds to me like the old salesman, and a great teacher of mine, a fella by the name of Russell, was an absolute superstar. And he said, salespeople often turn up and throw up. All they want to do is sit in front of the prospect, open the laptop and start going, look at me, how great are we? Look at all of this shit we can do for you. Instead of using the two of these, instead of one of these, to listen. But JD, I think important to understand the essence of the funnel really talks to a couple of things. One, building emotional connections to your brand and stories and storytelling and really doing that brand building.
Yep.
And then two, the other component is really using and leveraging that awareness that you've gained to get tactical and try and drive conversion and ultimately growth in sales, which, you know, we were on a pitch together on Wednesday, and JD, you spoke brilliantly about all of this, and I really enjoyed that process. But I think it's super important to tell the listeners exactly what we're talking about when we're talking about funnel. And then there's a whole lot.
Please don't do that with your hands when you're talking. Please, you're doing this, and it's all very.
What about? Oh God, that just brings me straight to the, to the fantastic sign language that's been going on over every one of these.
Yep. Yeah.
But again, I'm on another rabbit hole, so we'll cut that bit out.
God bless them. Anyway, no, I think you're right. I think that there is in a general sense.
Yep. In a broad
you need to win. As we said 2 weeks ago, I think it was 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
If people aren't aware of you, they're not going to buy you. Like, it's just like everything else is academic. Yep. So people have got to notice you. People have got to notice you and understand your relevance to them.
Yep.
That's the very top. That's very top of any funnel. Any funnel. Yep. Anywhere.
Bit of impact.
Impact. Yep. Get out there, be known, be seen, be relevant. And then you go down a little step in your funnel, and it's like, okay, so I'm interested. What have you got to tell me?
Yep. And
then you start telling people why they should. In what's that great scene in Django where Leonardo DiCaprio's character turns around with his big cigar and he says, "Gentlemen, you had my interest. Now you have my attention.
Now you have my attention.
Now you have my attention." Yep. I just love the way just all those words just kind of just lean up against each other. You had my interest. Now you have my attention. Like there's no gap. Anyway, so how do you get from awareness to interest to engagement? So another step down. Engagement. Again, I'm telling you more and more about the product and giving you clearer reasons, clearer benefits, why you should stay involved, why you should consider this. So do that, and then you get to a point where it's like, right, I've got you really interested. Me as the person trying to sell you something, I've got you really interested. Now let's talk about selling you something. Let's talk about you buying. Let's talk about the reason you should reach into your pocket for your hard-earned and give that to me, and I'll give you this.
Yep,
exactly. And some funnels are, they're 10 seconds long. Like you walk in, you see a poly waffle, you go, "Oh, I have that, thanks very much," and away you go. Yep. Some of them are 12 months long, B2B, 18 months, an 18-month funnel.
Yep. And
at every single stage, you've got to realize, okay, so what's our big issue? Is it that people don't know us and we've got a really good product? So if we've got a really good product that current customers really, really like, but we're not getting any interest from people who are not our customers, then you've got an awareness issue. Yep. And so you know that, you can measure that. And so you go, all right, well, let's just spend money on the awareness. And then when people ask more questions, they'll see how good we are, and then we can continue down the funnel.
Yeah.
But if everyone knows about us and no one's coming to visit, then you've got, which part of the funnel you need to concentrate on.
Yep, absolutely.
Do you see, if I wave my hands around like this, does it look like I know what I'm talking about?
It does. I'm feeling a little, I feel a bit mesmerized right now. So if you continue to do that, I might be kind of like, the eyes will go all sort of. But one of the great things we were talking about earlier is Ritson did an article on this recently as well. And he was talking specifically about our ability to do one of three things. One, we build that brand awareness, we get people interested in us before we go tactical. So that's the process, 1 to 2. The other is we build awareness and we're tactical at the same time. So we're doing 2 different types of creative. And then the third being, and you and I will have a good discussion about this last one, the third being one piece of creative that is doing both brand and tactical execution. So my question to you, JD, as our head of strategy and brand, is it possible to do the last? Well, it's possible because it's definitely been done, but is it possible to do it well?
I don't believe so. I really don't believe so, because I am a believer that people are, at their very heart, simple creatures.
Yep.
I think we can only really consider one thing at a time. We either get emotionally invested in something or we get logically, rationally involved in something. And emotions lead to actions. Rationality leads to understanding.
Yeah.
And the thing you want people to do is you want people to act. At the top of the funnel, you want them to take a next step, which is, I really like what you're talking about. I'm going to find out more about you. Yeah. Then once you've got them involved, once you help them understand the benefits, which is all those other messages, then you can start talking about conversions and call to actions and all of that kind of stuff. I really, really think that people, if you try and do 2 things in the one ad, it's like watching. Remember Jean-Claude Van Damme on the back of those Volvos that were reversing through the desert? It's just kind of, and he was splitting further and further and further and further apart. Well, I reckon if you try and do a brand ad and a retail ad at the same time, I reckon you get to that point where not even Jean-Claude Van Damme can spread his legs wide enough without falling through the... And I reckon that's where you lose a lot of customers, is they fall between the 2 trucks, get crushed to death and move on.
Guaranteed you're right.
I think we try and do, because we know we've only got a limited budget and we're trying to do so much with a limited budget. You either admit that you don't have the budget to do both, and so you set your sights lower and you spend money doing this, raising awareness, getting an emotional connection, building the benefit in the hearts and minds of the consumer, and then doing another piece which sells.
Yep.
And you may think that you are being less effective because you're not reaching as many people with 2 messages, but because you will be more effective at reaching the people who matter with the overarching emotional message, the understanding, the benefit message, and then getting more of those people to convert, you will actually get more customers by being more focused than you would trying to be all things to all people. And that's generally just a path to failure. Sorry, I'm lost for words because I just...
You're doing nothing. The torch just went out of the cot. Effectively, you're doing nothing well if you're going down that path of trying to be all things to all people, because you can't do that. You've got to understand the fundamentals of what we're trying to do in advertising. And one is, we're either going to build awareness, which is the baseline for what you need to be moving forward. Because as we said before, if no one knows about you, we can have the best tactical ad in the sun, but if no one knows about you and no one sees it, good luck.
Yeah, you did.
You're in that percentage of, what was it, our 7-Eleven or with...
7-Eleven.
7-Eleven. You've got to make sure you're clear on what you're able to do. So you're either going to go down that path, build brand awareness, then get tactical, or if you've got the budget, you can build brand awareness and be tactical at the same time. That's really the essence of what we're trying to say, right?
Yep. Build awareness, sell.
Yep.
Build awareness, sell. Build awareness and sell. That's it.
Not in one position. JD, you know what? I'll need a parting thought from you. I want a parting thought on this, because I think this is a ripper. This is a really important one. And as you say, I don't think it's like, this is not something that's been around forever. This is something that's been, really brought to the fore in the last, 10, 12 years, I believe. But I think it's really important for a parting thought on this one. So give me a pearl of wisdom, my boy.
I think the thought that you can build awareness and sell at the same time is one of the reasons that $20 billion worth of advertising gets ignored every year, because people don't know what it is they're supposed to be doing or how they're supposed to be reacting emotionally or rationally to any ad. Because as soon as you try and tell people two things at the same time, most of the time, they'll forget about it. And here's a simple way of demonstrating that. Stand across the room from the person you love most in the world with 10 tennis balls in your hand. Throw them one tennis ball and ask them to catch it. And most of the time, given a certain level of preschool coordination, they'll be able to catch it.
Yeah.
But if you throw 10 tennis balls at them at the same time and say, catch them, my guess is they're not going to catch one of them.
Agreed. Agreed. That's another edition of The Bones of Advertising, leaving on a high note of tennis balls. Thank you, JD. I'll see you again next week. Don't go changing.
You will indeed. Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.